The purpose of my research is to persuade the general public, people as a whole, that there is a lack of empathy in our society and how we can overcome it. We as a people should learn, understand, and practice empathy more than we do now so that our everyday communications can become more fulfilling, fuel connection, and resolve the greatest issues facing mankind. This is done by understanding, first of all, what empathy is, second, why it is so important and why there is a lack of it, and then how we can cultivate it and grow it. Empathy is defined in the Oxford English Dictionary as a physical property of the nervous system correlated with feeling. This definition implies that empathy is in fact something that's physically a part of us. It's in our brains, it is to our minds and our feelings what the flow of electricity is to this building. The second definition in the Oxford Dictionary says that empathy is the ability to project oneself and one's feelings into another in order to fully understand or comprehend it. In simpler terms, empathy is the ability within each of us to feel with others and feel as others are currently feeling. It's often confused with sympathy, though they're very different. Brené Brown, she's a renowned public speaker and professor at the University of Houston Graduate College of Social Work. She teaches that empathy fuels connection and sympathy drives disconnection. This is because when you sympathize with someone, you're feeling what they are feeling as if it was you. But when you empathize with someone, you feel what they are feeling as if you are them. It's literally putting yourself in their shoes. That's the difference, and that's what empathy is. To understand why there is a deficit, why there is a lack of empathy. Hundreds, if not thousands of years ago, hunter-gatherers lived in groups where there were 5 adults to every 1 child. This provided an environment where children could grow and they could develop empathy. They could connect with one another. Today, average household size has decreased from 6 in 1850 to 3 today. As our houses get bigger, the number of people inside them actually shrink, leaving us more isolated and separated from each other. As a result, today, the adult-to-child ratio is 1 or 2 adults to every 3 or 4 children, completely the opposite of hunter-gatherers. So our children are raised to be more isolated from other people, not to develop social connection and therefore lack empathy. Bruce D. Perry and Maya Salovitz wrote a book titled Born for Love, Why Empathy is Essential and Endangered. They list some of the consequences here. That 35% of first marriages end in divorce. In 2008, the land of the free had 2.3 million Americans in prison. That's 5 times higher than the average incarceration rate of the rest of the world. Physical affection, which is crucial to the development of our children, has been banned in most preschools and elementary schools because we don't trust each other. In addition, there's a growing idea that you need to love yourself first in order to be happy. This encourages people to be socially independent and narcissistic. Albert Einstein is quoted in this book by Perry and Salovitz as saying that a human being is a part of a whole called by us universe. This idea that we need to be independent and love ourselves encourages, as I said, people to be by themselves, to isolate themselves, not to depend on other people. But we as a people are naturally dependent on others. Our entire lives, we are dependent on someone else for everything we have. The embryo to its mother for life, a child to its parents for nurturing, students to their teachers for wisdom and knowledge, and even workers to their employers. So this idea that we should be completely socially independent and we only need ourselves to be happy, it defeats the very essence of empathy. So how can we do it? How can we overcome it, cultivate and show empathy more? I've come up with these 5 steps based on research from several sources. Ross Crisp, who talks about Carl Rogers, as well as Teresa Wiseman, a nursing scholar. The first step is to recognize the need for social connection. We are an interdependent species. We work together as humans. Recognizing the need for connection and desire is the first step. Being selfless and open to feedback, not just when it's nice and easy, but when it is convenient, when it's helpful. Being able to see from someone else's perspective as they are seeing and feeling. Imagine if we did this in things like politics, school, our relationships with other people. And then when doing that, not judging them, not being judgmental of how they feel or what they think. And then being able to recognize the emotion in another person and communicate to them the understanding of that emotion. And then that in turn rekindles the desire and the need for social connection. Empathy is not a journey, empathy is a journey. It is not a destination. You don't get there and say, I'm empathetic now. It's a journey. It's something we're constantly chasing. I'm afraid I might not have time to show this video. It's called It's Not About the Nail. I don't know if any of you have ever seen it on YouTube. There's a girl with a nail hammered into her head. It's not gory, it's quite hilarious actually. And she's talking about the pain that she feels all the time. And her husband says, maybe if we just get the nail out, that'll solve our problems. And she says, it's not about the nail. She says, if you would just listen to me, that's what I need. So then he takes a second and he just listens to her, tells her, wow, that must be hard. And she says, thank you, I know. Even though there is a nail in her forehead. But the point is that it's not what you say, it's not what you do, it's to create a connection, it's to listen to people, see as they're seeing. So in conclusion, the ability for us to empathize with other people, to feel as your neighbor is feeling, to feel as someone else is feeling, will fuel connection between individuals, which we are meant to do. It will resolve the greatest issues we face as human beings. And it is the path to social change.